Hello my wonderful friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name's Elena. I love all things makeup and beauty. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my favorite eyeshadow palettes from each brand that I have in my collection. So if you want to see what they are, then definitely keep on watching. So I have 9 palettes with me, and how I decided to do this was if I had 2 or more palettes from the brand. I don't have a very big eyeshadow collection like some influencers or content creators do. So that's why I decided to do 2 or more. Usually they do 3 or more, but hey, as I said, I'm small. But that's all good, you know what? So let's go ahead and get started. They're in no particular order, and the first one we're going to start out with is from e.l.f. I have about 5 e.l.f. palettes, and this is the Rose Water one. And I decided for this one to be my favorite is because I really love the color story. Out of all the ones that I have in my collection, I really feel like they perform well. Like all the bite-sized palettes that I have, they perform amazingly. But this was just based off color story for this video. I really love it. Now, I do love a very colorful palette, but I really do love a good mauve tone palette also, and this definitely speaks mauve tone. It's a rose type of color. I really love this. There are 2 matte, 2 shimmers, and you can still find them at e.l.f. website, or you can even find them at your local Walmart or wherever you shop with your local drugstores. You can find it. And there's other like ones too, like the cream and sugar. Like there's more neutral one, there's more of a purple type of blue one. So there's a variety of palettes that they have of these, but out of all the 5 that I have in my collection, this is my favorite one. From my Melt collection, my favorite is from the Bad Side Zodiac. It is the Earth palette. Now, I am an Aries, so I am a fire sign, but I'm not much of a red person, so I decided to pick up the more grungy one. And I have 3 palettes in my collection from Melt, and this one really stuck out to me. This was my first Melt palette that I ever got, and I thought it was really, really nice. I know some people didn't really like this palette, but I didn't really mind this palette. I thought the quality was really good, and I really love the color story. Now, this is my favorite out of the 3 because of the color story. The other ones I have are the Gemini ones, Gemini 1 and 2. And don't get me wrong, I really love those color stories too. But this one has more, I say, variety to it. It has like golds, mauves, a green to it. So that's why it is my favorite palette from my Melt collection. And as I said, I really didn't mind this palette. I know some people did not like the collection. They thought maybe it wasn't the good Melt formula, but like I said, I really like this one. So that's why it is my favorite from my Melt collection I have. From my Too Faced collection, my favorite is the Born This Way Natural Nudes. Now, as I said, I love color, but out of all my Too Faced collection, I think I have 3 more. Yeah, so I think I have 4 altogether. I don't remember. I used to have like a big Too Faced collection. So, but I have since, dwindled it down. And yes, I know I love color, but let me tell you, this is the favorite one from my Too Faced collection that I have. Just the quality of it is so, so good. Now, I know Too Faced is a hit or miss for some people. And yeah, I've had some palettes that weren't my favorite, which I have since decluttered. But this one will always stay in my collection. I feel like this is the best Too Faced formula that I have ever used. Now, I do like the Italian Spritz and the Cinnamon Swirl palettes. Those are also my favorite. But if I really had to choose between those 3, this one was definitely the one to come at top. It's just amazing. It's beautiful. And you know what? I really do love like a neutral palette. If I want a neutral palette, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this one. I don't have many neutral palettes, like neutral palettes. Like I have neutral palettes, but there's maybe a pop of color in it. But this one definitely is a neutral palette. And this one is my favorite. Now, I'm hoping to maybe get more Too Faced palettes in the future. They just haven't came out with anything that I have really loved. Now, I did like the Aptly in Love palette, but I did not get my hands on it quite yet. But as I said, this one definitely is the top palette from my Too Faced collection. Next is my Sigma palette collection, and out of the two that I had, this one was my favorite. It is the Alice in Wonderland, and this is what the palette looks like. If you know the story, this was my top palette in my 22 ranking. I love it so much. Now, the other palette I have is the Mini Enchanted palette, and I really wanted that one so bad, and I was gifted to it by my best friend. Don't get me wrong, I really love that palette, but unfortunately, I dropped the palette, and the shimmer that I really wanted, it's completely, like, destroyed. I've tried repressing it, it's not salvageable. So that is kind of disappointing, so I don't really use that palette as much, so that's why this came at the top. And to be honest, I really like the color story also. I love a colorful color story. Don't get me wrong, the other palette color story is really nice. But this one, I just have more of a bond to this one, considering it was like my top palette from my 22 ranking. And I think the quality of this is actually really, really good still. Like, this was my first Sigma palette that I have ever gotten, and I was so blown away when I used this. I thought it was, like, the most amazing palette that I have ever had in my collection. Now, since I have accumulated palettes that I like a little bit more, but as I said, I really love this palette. Now, I want to get more Sigma palettes, but the palettes they come out with just don't speak to me. Like, I really like the Little Mermaid, though. I will tell you that Little Mermaid was my favorite Disney princess when I was a kid. So that kind of had sentimental value, but it didn't have the value for me to actually purchase the palette. So I'm hoping to get more palettes from Sigma, but so far none of them has caught in my eye. So out of the two I have in my collection, this one was my favorite. Next palette is from my Natasha Denona collection, and I'm not showing you the palette right now because I want to take a couple seconds for you guys to guess what palette it is. If you've been here on my channel, you know what the palette is, but I'm going to give you a few seconds. And a few seconds has passed, and did you guess it right? The Yucca palette from Natasha Denona. Also, this is my favorite palette in my whole entire eyeshadow collection. And this is what the palette looks like. This is a stunning palette. I mean, I've said it's a stunning palette like a billion times on this channel already. I've talked about it like a billion times on this channel already. You're probably tired of me talking about the palette. But if you're new here, this is my favorite palette. I love the color story. Yes, it may be a neutral color story. Some people find this a neutral color story. I actually find this a colorful color story. Like, yeah, it has mostly grungy neutrals to it, but it also has that pop of green, pop of blue, pop of orange, pop of yellow, whatever this is. This palette is the best Natasha Denona palette I've ever seen them come out with, I've ever tried. And I have 5 Natasha Denona palettes, so out of the 5, this one was my favorite one. And of course, it was going to be my favorite one because it's my favorite eyeshadow palette my whole entire collection. So yeah, of course. But the quality of this was like no other. Now, I know some people don't like the cream to powder formula, and for the cream and powder, it is this dark yellow and this orange this dark green, I apologize, and this dark orange over here. I actually really don't mind the formula. I think it's workable for me. Now, I know some people just want to one and done kind of person, you know, you just want to, you know what I mean? You really have to work with these. You have to build them up to get where you want to. So I think that's why some people are annoyed by this kind of formula. But I'm not. I really don't mind it. And I really want to purchase another Natasha Denona palette in the future, but they just haven't came out with anything, you know, that's caught my eye. I feel like most of her palettes these days are just neutral palettes. Now, she did come out with the Roxo palette. She did come out with the Bloom palette, though. That one actually did catch my eye. I'm, like, debating 50-50 on getting it. because some people are like, oh, it's the same thing she brings out. No, it really isn't. And this is just my opinion. Yeah, it's a neutral palette, but it's a neutral palette with the coral type of hue to it, and she doesn't really have those. So I might be getting that palette if I were to get another palette, to be honest. But if you guessed it, it's this palette. So yes. Next is my Odin's Eye collection, and my favorite one out of my 5 that I have, 6. Out of the 6 I have, is Stone and Rock. And you probably already knew this if you've been here on my channel. It is a green palette. You know me, I love my greens, so of course. It's a grungy palette. We have a beautiful duochrome here. It might be showing green to you, but I do see blue. I don't know, just this palette performed really good. I know Odin's Eye is a hit or miss for some people, and I've had hit or miss shades. Not exactly a palette that I haven't disliked, but some shades and palettes that I do have weren't my favorite. But overall, this one I had no problem with. Really love the quality. I really like the shimmers. I know some people don't like Odin's Eye shimmers at all, but I don't really mind the shimmers on this one. I think if you really want to start out with Odin's Eye and you're not so sure, you want to maybe a neutral palette, I would consider this neutral. I don't know. Would you consider this neutral? I consider it neutral. If you want a neutral but green palette, I definitely highly recommend this palette if you really want to try out with Odin's Eye. You want something that's workable, something that you're not going to regret, because like I said, all the shades in here are perfectly fine. Had no problem with any shade in here. Now, there was another palette to this. It was like a collection, and it's called the Jewels and Gems one, and I do want to get my hands on that for sure. Haven't been able to, but out of the 6 I have, this one's my favorite. The next palette is from BH Cosmetics, and I don't know how many I have, to be honest. I have quite a bit. I didn't really count before this because I don't know. I have a lot, so, and it is the avocado toast one. Now, I know BH Cosmetics isn't a brand anymore. They were bought out by Makeup Revolution, but since then, we haven't really seen anything. So, I don't really know what's going on with that brand. I don't know. I will forever keep my BH Cosmetics palettes that I love, though, just so that way I have a memory of the good BH quality that they had. And this is the avocado toast one. And of course, I love it because it's green. You know me, I love my greens. But the quality of this is really, really good. Like, I've had some BH palettes that I wasn't in love with, and since I have decluttered. But this avocado toast one, let me tell you, is the best BH quality. And I'll never be getting rid of it, even if it's expired, if nobody talks about it. And nobody really talks about it now. But I really don't care. Like I said, I really want to keep my BH Cosmetics palettes for the memories, because I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're really still out there, if they're producing products. Like I said, they were bought out by Makeup Revolution, and Makeup Revolution is kind of in the dumps too right now. So who knows what's going on with that. But I will forever keep this palette. It's my favorite one out of my collection. And as I said, I don't know how many I have. I maybe have 7, 8 palettes of BH Cosmetics. I don't know for sure. I really don't remember. I have quite a bit. But out of the collection, this one's my favorite. Next palette is from Nomad, and I have 4 Nomad palettes in my collection, and this is my favorite one. Now, I was debating over the Polar Express palette or this one. I really love those palettes both equally, to be honest. But if we're going to be honest here, I've used this the most. This is the Ghost Town USA palette. And I have 4 pans, actually, in this palette. And this is such a gorgeous palette. This palette is the palette that really opened my eyes for Nomad Cosmetics. It's a cool tone type of palette, and I know some people don't like cool tones, but I really don't mind cool tones. We have like a green side, a blue side, and the neutral side. Just a beautiful palette. I feel like this is probably one of the best qualities that Nomad has ever done in their palettes. I will tell you though, the shimmers are a little bit soft press, a little bit putty, so just be careful when you pick them up on a brush. I would highly suggesting to spray your brush, but the mattes perform spectacular. I really love Nomad Cosmetics. They are my favorite brand, like makeup brand that I've ever used, I've ever tried. And I would never get rid of this palette. Even when I use it all, I would never get rid of it. And it is still available as of right now. I know they're thinking about discontinuing it. I don't know when yet. But if you want to try it, Nomad Cosmetics, I would highly suggest getting this palette. I am in love with Nomad. Now, this isn't the first palette that I got from Nomad. It was the Feta de Provence palette. But like I said, this one really opened my eyes. So out of the 4 I have, this is my favorite. And last brand we have is ColourPop. And I think I have 23 palettes, if I remember correctly. 23? I don't know, something like that. And my favorite is It's a Mood. I love this palette so much. Now, if you know, you know. I've been wanting this palette so bad. I wasn't able to get my hands on it. But my best friend, she had this palette and she wasn't using it. And she went ahead and sent it to me. And I am so grateful for that. This is definitely a jewel tone type of color story. And I really love jewel toned color stories. Like if I were to collab with any brand and make an eyeshadow palette, the color story I would pick out is a jewel tone color story. We do have pressed glitters in here though, and I know some people aren't a fan of the ColourPop pressed glitters, but I really don't mind the ColourPop pressed glitters. I'm actually a pressed glitter type of person. My goodness. I really don't mind pressed glitters. Now there are some brands that I don't like the pressed glitters. I will tell you that. But this one I love so much. Now we do have some neutrals in here. Yes, this is mostly a colorful color story, but we do have a little bit of peach tones. We do have some grungy greens. Now we do have blues, purples. We have everything basically in this. And this did not disappoint. The formula, spectacular. I'm just so grateful I got my hands on this. Like I said, I've been wanting this palette for so long, and it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint whatsoever at all. As you see, it is my favorite out of like the 23 ColourPop palettes that I have in my collection. This will never get decluttered. It'd be like in a memory box if it really does get old and expired. But out of all the ColourPop palettes I have, this is my favorite one. So that is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be back with a lot more makeup and beauty content. Till then, you guys stay beautiful, stay healthy, and stay safe. Bye.